Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to News Dose, and we got a bit of a strange story today that I was not expecting to talk about. This one comes out of left field a little bit because, we have been hearing pretty much all generation long, and really even before, that the PlayStation 5 will implement some kind of PlayStation 3 backwards compatibility. We've all been waiting for it. We've been hoping for it. We even heard a rumor about this a week or so back. But what if I told you that there is a real scenario where the Xbox Series will get PlayStation 3 functionality before the PlayStation 5? Because that's actually a very real situation if Sony doesn't kick it into high gear sometime soon. And we're going to talk about all that today. Now, we will talk about a few other things today, including a couple PlayStation 5 updates. As always, I will have timestamps below, but let's just go and get things started off with a series that I very much enjoy, being the Yakuza franchise. It's really been just so cool to see how far this franchise has come since its inception. There for a long time, the Yakuza series was quite niche. But now, it's really become a main pillar for Sega. They now hold it in high regards, and it's blossomed into an incredible, successful franchise. I mean, you just gotta love to see it. But one thing that you'll notice about these games is that RGG, they're not afraid to mix things up a little bit. They don't mind experimenting, and it sounds like they could actually dive deeper into that rabbit hole with their next entry. At a recent Anime Expo, RGG went on record and told fans that they can't tell us what their next game is, but whatever it is, they told fans that they'll be surprised. Now, it was later clarified that they are indeed talking about the Yakuza series, so, they're not teasing a brand new IP or another Monkey Ball entry as an example, but that got me wondering, what could they possibly be teasing about the Yakuza series that would surprise us? And there's really only two things that kind of comes to mind here. One is a potential spinoff. They've already had success doing this once before with the Judgment series. In my opinion, those games are flat out amazing. And I almost wonder if we could actually get another spinoff series similar to that. Personally, just considering the quality of the Judgment franchise, I'd be all for that. But something else that they could possibly do here is they could experiment with another genre once again. The last two mainline Yakuza games, as an example, were turn-based, which surprisingly actually worked very well. Again, though, I kind of wonder if they would try to mix things up once again with a completely different take for the Yakuza series. No matter what they attempt, though, I look at this as good news, and the reason I say that is because it allows them to unlock their creative freedom. They don't just have to do one thing and that's all they get to do, but Sega is allowing them to try new and interesting things with this series, and if there's a studio that's earned that, yeah, I'd say that RGG is that studio. Now, okay, so let's go and talk about this weird situation with Xbox and its ironic PlayStation 3 functionality. This is something that the PlayStation 5 can't even do yet. Now, that's not to say that it won't ever achieve PlayStation 3 backwards compatibility. Personally, I'm crossing my fingers that it does, because I think the PlayStation 3 has an amazing library of exclusive titles that deserves more recognition. And with Sony's official first-party support, I think that would be the best way to get these games into the mass audience's hand. So far, though, outside of rumors that we've really been hearing all generation long, Sony hasn't given us any concrete information to guarantee that PlayStation 3 emulation is in the works for the PlayStation 5. And by this point, there is now this ironic twist of fate that has the Xbox Series achieving PlayStation 3 emulation even before the PlayStation 5, which is, crazy to think about. I know it sounds strange because it truthfully is, but that's the reality of the situation. What's happening here, though, is that Modern Vintage Gamer pointed out in a YouTube video that Xbox Series emulation via the developer mode received a Mesa update earlier this year, which is an OpenGL and Volcom implementation for UWP apps. As he said in his video, which I very much recommend watching, I'll go ahead and leave a link in the description below. But he said that this means a Vulkan and OpenGL implementation that sits on top of DX12 is supported and available, which opens the door for new games, new emulators, and new software to be ported on to Xbox. So far, this has allowed Citra on the Xbox Series, which is a 3DS emulator, and theoretically, this could also mean that Nintendo Switch and even PlayStation 3 emulation could actually make their way over to Xbox with the right amount of support. Now, that currently remains to be seen, but the cool thing here is that the Xbox Series remains one of the best options for the emulation community. This has been well documented since the release of the Xbox Series, and this goes for both consoles. The Xbox Series S, because of its price tag and the amount of power that it gives you, it is a great option to emulate a lot of these old school games all the way up to the Xbox 360 era. I mean, some people even buy the Xbox Series S specifically for emulation purposes and nothing else, just because of its price to power ratio. Now, if you want that extra horsepower, of course you have the Xbox Series X as well, which is going to give you even better emulation. But to do this in both cases, you will need to unlock developer mode. Now, you can do this on any Xbox Series console by paying a one-time fee. There's a lot of videos out there that better explains this and, walk you through the tutorial and all of that. But here's the cool thing. Even if you unlock developer mode, you can always swap back and forth between dev mode and retail mode at will. You don't get locked to one mode, and that's simply it. So by getting something like the Xbox Series X, you can still play all of the new and best games that comes out every single year. You're going to get those great visuals for those modern games. And then when you're in the mood to play an old school GameCube game, as an example, well, then you can swap over to developer mode and play that as well. The Xbox Series with developer mode is just a very versatile option, and that's one of the reasons that the emulation community absolutely loves the Xbox Series consoles. What we're seeing here, though, is that the emulation community is back. They're live and well once again on Xbox. It did slow down there for a while after the death of emulation on retail mode, but with this news here, we could see a lot more advancements in the coming years by making use of developer mode on the Xbox Series consoles. Now, speaking of PlayStation, though, we do actually have a couple PlayStation updates today, which includes a big-time success story for Ghost of Tsushima. Circana just dropped their list of best-selling games in the United States for the month of May, and check this out. With the PC port, Ghost of Tsushima vaulted all the way up to the #1 spot, beating out the newly released Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door. So it's not like Ghost of Tsushima had no competition for the month of May. It very much did with Paper Mario. That's a great game also. Go check it out. But Ghost of Tsushima still came out at that #1 spot. It was previously 71 the month prior, but that's kind of the thing about this news, because this shows you the type of success that PlayStation can have on the PC platform. And this is without a big marketing push. Sony hasn't exactly done a great job in marketing, really, I'd say, any of their PC games. And I mean, you have to realize that the PlayStation 4 version for Ghost of Tsushima has been available for 4 years. It launched way back in 2020, so there's a lot stacked against these PlayStation PC ports. I certainly think Sony could do better, but yet here we are, and it doesn't really seem to matter. In fact, I'd say that 2024 has been a wake-up call for them to at least some degree. Helldivers 2, which also released earlier this year, has been one of their most successful games of all time, and a large part of that was because of the PC version. And now here we are today, and we're seeing Ghost of Tsushima top the United States charts because of PC. And yeah, there's obviously a lot of potential with PlayStation games on PC. So far, though, Sony's been a little bullish on this topic, and they've publicly committed to staggered PC releases. But as they have more and more success on PC, you can kind of see why fans keep asking for day-and-date PC and PlayStation releases. They would probably make a ton more money, and I mean, you do have to kind of wonder if maybe PlayStation will reevaluate this plan sometime in the future. I'd say for right now, I'm not really expecting it anytime soon, but, maybe years later down the road, maybe we'll see that plan adjusted a little bit. Now, one last quick update before we go. Sony's giving fans a fun reason to jump back into Astro's Playroom ahead of Astrobot's release this September. This first started last month when Astro's Playroom received a new update, which included new trophies, but at the time, there was a little bit of confusion in how all of this worked. More or less, these new trophies are linked to solving treasure hunt riddles in each level to find a special PlayStation-themed Astrobot. The only problem with that first update, though, is that it lacked information, and it didn't really let fans know that you could only find one of those new bots for the month of June. Now, some people started to assume that that was the case once they couldn't find the other Astrobots, but after a month, PlayStation has officially put out a blog confirming this. They said that one new riddle will be added every single month until Astrobot releases, and even better here is that if you solve each riddle, you will be able to take these hidden characters into the new game and add them to your starting crew. So, hey, I'd say that that's a pretty cool update, and you can see each hidden character here. You have Lady Maria from Bloodborne. Yeah, there's actually some Bloodborne love here. We still need that 60 FPS update. Come on, Sony, let's make it happen. Then there's Celine from Returnal, and then you have these two shadowed out characters for the time being, though I think they're fairly easy to guess. The first shadowed out image I'm pretty sure is a Gran Turismo racer. We have seen this character in other places before. And then lastly, you have somebody from the Ape Escape series. So if you're looking forward to Astrobot, it's one of my most anticipated games, do make sure to go solve those riddles. It's a fun community effort, if anything else. Anyways, though, that's going to be it for this episode, but until next time, peace out.